We all have a unique remembering process, and the way of mastery is going to help us transform through that unique waking process. So, we're going to read it slow and we're going to hear this together. We're on lesson 2. It's page 11. We're moving right along. I'm so excited. I love this. I almost feel like this section, I don't feel like I have a lot of explanation because it's so, it explains itself. But if we have any questions, if anybody has questions or like whatever, feel free to unmute or like wave and ask the questions as we go, because I don't want any kind of ego blocks keeping you from hearing it, as long as we don't go down that rabbit hole, right, of analysis. So let's hear what lesson 2 is together. You create your experience. That's what we're going to hear about. And it's great. It is with great joy that Jesus comes forth to abide with us. It's his great joy, not his obligation. It's his greatest joy. Anyway, it is a great truth that Jesus comes often to many of us. But because of what we've learned in our world, we have believed that to be a figment of our imagination. Like, we deny that we've ever heard Jesus or love's guidance because we think and we've been taught it's a figment of our imagination. The voice that steals quietly through the space between your own thoughts, you think is an illusion. Yet I say unto you, I often come to many. I come not alone to communicate with you. There is in truth a host of friends that come to create a vortex, a circumference of energy. We come, even as you read these words, into your space to set that tone. So that's happening right now. There is a vortex of energy. There are many, many friends without bodies who are here to help facilitate this learning. We should feel very honored, but we don't see it. So we're like, yeah, it might, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But in truth, we are being supported and guided, even as we read this evening. If you will receive it, there are many friends unseen by the physical eyes that have come forth to contribute and support this communication. So we're not alone. That also means we're not alone, and that we have a team rooting for us, even if it looks like we're physically alone or, like, what are we doing here? We have an invisible support team who is cheering us on and hoping that we come into a quiet space where we can hear and receive their guidance. Why is this important? Always and in each and every moment of your experience, you, as a soul, as a divine spark of consciousness, are deliberately choosing to create forms of communication. So what does it mean to create forms of communication? You do it with the rement that you place on the body. You do it with your gestures and the sounds of your voice. You do it with the very culture and time frame in which you incarnate. You are constantly and only creating forms through which you communicate. That's saying we are communicating at every moment. Every moment. What we put on to wear, what we express, our body language. This is saying we are deliberately choosing to create these forms of communication, which is true. All of it has been selected by myself. If I look at it and say, how did all of this specific form get here in my world? It was like, well, I chose it. Communication is the attempt to rest in communion with creation. What you are choosing to perceive, believe, and accept as true will be radiated through you, through your communication devices, which includes your body. That's your primary communication device. So what you're choosing to perceive will be radiated through you, that you might transfer your perceptions to another, and they would know who you are and which voice you are committed to, the voice for love or the voice for fear. So the way we communicate what we perceive to be true, we express and communicate, because it's our belief system. We wouldn't act in a way contradictory to our belief system. So it's kind of like we wear it. We wear on us, well, I don't know, what am I saying? It's just like, you cannot hide the body language, right? We know that. So our body is the main communication device, and we use it to transfer ideas and perceptions to others. We want to be understood by each other, so we share conversation. We want to connect with others. We want to feel one, so we share and extend love so that others know, hey, I listen to the voice for love too. Jesus said, oh yeah, let's hear what Lisa has to say. What's up, Tree of Prosperity lady?
I just wanted to add that I feel like that it's also because we communicate through our energy, and our thoughts are not as private as we think they are. So we're always communicating, because even if we think people can't hear our thoughts, they can feel the energy of them, and they do know.
That is such a good point, right?
Which he talks about later in the book.
Yeah, I think actually we'll get to hear it in this chapter, I think. So, yeah, totally. We feel the energy. Like, we don't even have to say anything. We know when somebody's not happy and they walk into the room because we all feel it. Yeah, right. That's such a good point. I have often said the body is a teaching and learning device, and all forms of communication affect the process of teaching and learning. Okay, what does that mean? When you arise in the morning, the very first thought that makes a home in your mind, you will act on. You may stretch your body, you may smile, you may frown, you might be filled with peace, or you might feel the weight of the world. These things, all of these thoughts, don't come because you've perceived them outside. They come because you've allowed them inside. Inside the depths of your consciousness, which, by the way, remains pure and undefiled and radiant beyond all boundaries forever. I love how it celebrates us. Like, it doesn't just tell us we're awesome. It's like, your consciousness remains pure and undefiled and radiant beyond all boundaries forever. It's like, that's not just a little compliment. Right? Can we celebrate that? Like, Jesus is like, oh, you've allowed some things inside of there that you create an experience in your world thinking that they came from outside of you, but they came from inside of you. That's what that's saying. As that thought makes a home in your mind, you literally begin to transform the communication device called the body. You transform the body into that which carries, expresses, and reflects what has come to make a home within your mind. Remember, please, that the mind is not where the body is. The mind does not abide within the body, but the body does abide within the field of your mind. Well, if we had music, I would play music right now, because that is just like the juiciest thing I've ever heard. And maybe I should read that again, because I want us to hear that. It's talking again about how we're always communicating what we perceive. And it says those thoughts that make a home in our mind literally begin to transform the communication device called the body. And it makes a home within your mind. It says, please remember that the mind is not where the body is. The mind's not where the body is. The mind does not abide within the body. The mind does not abide within the body. I love that. The mind does not abide or dwell within the body. The body abides within the field of your mind. Communication is creation. Creation is communication. These two are one and the same. Therefore, if you would create well, ask only this: what am I committed to communicating? What will my creations express? What will my creations convey to others? For what I seek to convey reveals what I believe is the truth of myself to the world. Therefore, beloved friends, as we begin to focus on and refine and deepen the way of the heart, it is wise to begin at the beginning. Simple, right? Like, yeah, it makes sense. Let's begin at the beginning. Not rocket science. I think we can do this. Let's keep going. The beginning of the way of the heart pathway is simply this: you are as God created you to be. You are an infinite focus of consciousness. Your very sense of existence is nothing more than a feedback loop or a feedback mechanism so that you can witness the effects of the choices you're making in the very deep depth of your mind that rests alongside the mind of God. It makes it sound so it makes us sound so basic, right? We're the very sense of existence is nothing more than a feedback loop. That feedback loop is showing us the effects of our choices so we can witness them.
A program?
Like a program. We are like a computer program. Totally. Therefore, in each moment of your existence, which includes this bodily incarnation, you are literally allowing, through deliberate choice, though perhaps unconscious, to bring forth a vibration of a thought or a vibration of a creation and to communicate it to the world in an attempt to experience communion with all of life, with a friend, with a parent, child, beloved, with clouds that pass through the sky, or with the earth itself. Ooh, it's like poetry. Each gesture, each thought, the way that the body breathes, all of these things are going on constantly, and they are communicating or revealing the effect of what you have allowed to make home in your mind. So when we're conscious and awake, we are communicating love all the time, and forgiveness and peace and all these things like joy and safety. But when we have accidentally allowed fear to make a home in our mind, then we act like it. We're wearing a mask and we're standing 6 feet away from somebody, but we're still trying to spray them with disinfectant, right? like that's the fear mind. It's how somebody behaves and acts and communicates with their nonverbal communication. And their energy, just like Lisa said, you already know what has made a home in their mind. So it's unfortunate, but like, whatever we think we're keeping so secret is not so secret. Like, everybody sees it because you communicate it always. Oops. It's kind of a tough love kind of lesson. I love it. Understand well. The way of the heart pathway requires that you allow yourself to rest in the simplicity of this truth. And I'm going to give this one a repeat. So go ahead, if you desire, close your eyes and hear this truth. That is the way of the heart that allows yourself to rest in this simplicity of truth. I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore to create my experience as I would have it be. I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore to create my experience as I would have it be. I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore to create my experience as I would have it be, because I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore to create my experience as I would have it be. I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore to create my experience as I would have it be. Not quite the I. That is the egoic part of the mind, for that is just one of your creations that came along somewhere down the line. It is a very small part of the mind. We are speaking of the I of you, that is pure spirit that knows it exists even though it does not know the time of its own creation. You are pure spirit. Therefore, to know, I am only this. I'm only pure spirit, and in each moment, regardless of what I believe I see, regardless of the feelings that arise within my awareness, I and I alone am wholly 100% responsible for my feelings. No one has caused them. No great force in this universe has made this perception well up within my consciousness. I have selected it. That one, red pill, matrix. Once you reach this level of responsibility of your spiritual path or your whatever reality, your whether you believe you're spirit or not, you have to manage your reality, right? And like, after you hear this, you either go back to sleep and ignore it, or you start to change your mind. And then the world around you starts to change. That's actually the gift that we get from reading this book, is it like scrubs our minds clean. It gives us a new outfit to ride around in, a new vehicle to ride around in, and like experience the world in a totally different way. In the way that our formless self, our powerful eternal self, is like leading the way, not our fearful, scared, limited self who thinks it has control over anything.
Do you mind if I
chime in, please? Go ahead.
I just think that those words right there, that we don't need anything else. Like, if you could truly understand and live those words, which I've been working on for a while now, those words and those alone are the key to life. Because once you can take full responsibility and you understand that everything that you see and every perception that you have and every thought that you hold, you made it up. That you're in complete and utter control of those perceptions and feelings and thoughts that you have, then you get to move into letting them go and choosing new ones.
And that's when the magic happens.
And that's when I say, woohoo, I'm a superhero.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I have the ability to create my own reality just by choosing the thoughts that I hold.
But we are so complicated, we can't take this one paragraph and apply it. We need a teaching. We need a teacher. We need things to remind us, because for some reason, our human experience doesn't let us easily stay conscious of this stuff. But once you know it, you can't really unknow it. So it's like, that's the Pandora's box that I talk about. It's like, oh my God, now I'm in Pandora's box. So there is like a learning curve where it first excites you and then it scares the shit out of you and then you get excited about it and love it again. So it's like, ooh, it is.
Well, the ego fights it tooth and nail because the ego doesn't want you to know that.
Oh, that's exactly right. And I was going to say something about that in this class this evening, is the ego literally subconsciously or unconsciously influences how we choose and how we decide. So when we decide or commit to learning the truth, we're gonna be like, I committed to learning the truth and then my laptop died. Or like, I tried to get online to hear the truth and my audio wouldn't work. Like it happened to Carlo yesterday. It's like,
that's exactly what I was thinking yesterday.
Yeah, it's funny. It is funny if you see it correctly, which is, wow, Carla, your ego is like, enough, Carla. We have had enough. Like, we're not even doing tonight. And you're like, I'm going to keep trying to hear this. And you actually circumvented the problem and went and listened to it on YouTube. So you're killing your ego, and your ego, for as best it can, it's going to try to create issues, distractions, confusions, and problems for you to learn and keep going and keep hearing the truth and put it into action. So all of us, it can show up in so many different ways. It can show up as like, I used to not be able to find a parking spot right before class. And even though that doesn't apply because we're online right now, it was like my ego being like, you made it to class, but we're not going to find you a parking spot because it's Denver. And and that's ego. That's not like, I mean, I could have even left early, but there are some things that ego encourages to manifest in your world to keep you from remembering the truth and learning or hearing it or whatever, engaging in it. It's like, no. I think you have a headache. In fact, I had a headache starting around 2:00 today. I was like, this is like the one day, like this and yesterday are the days of the week that I can't have this happen. Like, I can't work under that kind of condition. The truth is, I don't want to, but I took ibuprofen and I'm feeling a little better. I caught it ahead of time, and I'm not going to let that headache stop me from teaching or sharing this material. But believe it, guys, because we're all here, we're all on this path, and we're attempting to show up and hear and learn something new. And you must expect distraction. You must expect obstacles. Otherwise, it's going to derail you and you'll end up on the side of the road and you wouldn't even know that you got derailed, right? So just know, when you commit to something like being at a class to hear the stuff, like, you're gonna notice all kinds of things that all of a sudden are the exception to the rule of why you can't make it tonight. Or why, okay, the other thing the ego likes to do is, as we're learning this beautiful new spiritual path, it likes to sabotage you by saying, you should share this with your sister, Susie, because she needs it. And we think we can apply miracles to other people. So we're like, oh, Susie, my sister, needs to hear this. So we introduce Susie, our sister, and now she shoots it down and says, you're in a cult. You're like thinking some crazy stuff. And then you all of a sudden question what you're hearing, and that's another form of the ego trying to sabotage you, is you try to recruit people to believe in what you're learning. You try to share it without fully understanding it quite yet, because you're excited about what you're learning, and you share it, and somebody's like, oh my God, you believe that? You believe that sin does not exist? What planet are you on? And then you're gonna, because you love that person, they're important to you, you're gonna start valuing their opinion and start questioning what you're hearing and learning. So, ooh, sneaky ego. So until you're like certain somebody, unless they ask you, what is that? What is Course in Miracles? Don't share. They don't care. They don't want to know. They're not ready yet. If it's for them, they'll find it. You might be that doorway or that connection, but don't try to force it. Just saying. All right, so I love that. I don't know about you guys, that's just good stuff. I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything and anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore create my experience as I would have it be. I am only pure spirit, and each moment, regardless of what I believe I see, regardless of the feelings that arise within my awareness, I and I alone am wholly 100% responsible for my feelings and for whatever arises within my awareness. No one has caused them on me. No great force in the universe has made this perception well up within my consciousness. I have selected it. Just as you go to a grocery store and choose what you will have for dinner, and then go home and experience your creation, the dinner, so too do you choose each experience that you have in the world. When you choose a perception or the way you want to see things, you lodge it in the mind. Then it expresses itself through the body, through the environment that you create around yourself, and through the friends that you would call into your awareness. Every aspect of the life you live is the symbol of what you have chosen to experience, and therefore to convey throughout creation, or to communicate throughout creation. So it's saying, just as we go to the grocery store and choose, and then we experience the creation that we choose, it's saying that's what happens in the world. That's what happens in your experience. You're going around choosing experiences, and then you're experiencing them. The way of the heart begins with the acceptance of this simple truth. I am as God created me to be, made in His image. I am a creator always. This is another one. I think I'm going to give this I got to repeat this one. We got to hear this a few times, okay? So if you're interested and you want to close your eyes, hear this. We're going to repeat this one for a few. I am as God created me to be, made in His image. I am a creator always. I am a creator always. I am as God created me to be, made in His image. I am a creator always. I am as God created me to be, made in His image. I am a creator always. I am as God created me to be, made in His image. I am a creator always. I am as love created me to be, made in love's image. I am a creator always. I am as love created me to be, made in love's image. I am a creator always. I am a creator always, made in his image. I am a creator always. I am as God created me to be, made in his image. I am a creator always. What then would you ask your creations to communicate, Carolyn? What then would you ask your creations to communicate to the world? Why do you make the choices you're making? You all know perfectly well that sometimes you seem to be compelled, and the ego wants you to believe that you are compelled, to certain actions, certain feelings, choices, perceptions, statements, by something that surely exists outside yourself. This is never true. In no circumstance is there anything of creation that has the power to dictate to you the choice you will make. If you do believe that something has the power to dictate your choices, you've given your power away. You've relinquished your power. If I think someone made me do it, if I think I did it because this person, that's me surrendering all my power over to something outside of myself. Someone else. Why would I give it to them? If I'm going to surrender my power, I want to surrender it to love, because love will do something better with it. Not me, not others, not these games we play. I see a cute little kitty head, just saying. Is that Junie? Oh, she's so pretty. Oh my gosh.
How cute.
She's really cute. That's Junie. Where's your little baby, Carla?
I think she's actually sleeping, which is a miracle. Because normally, if I had, or where you could see me, you would see a cat standing in front of me.
Then we're all in the same boat. We all got the cat lady vibe going.
Just like she likes to sit on books, she likes to stand in front of computer screens.
She's the star of the show.
That's right.
Oh, so tell me, everybody, what do you think about what we've heard so far? Does anybody have anything? Lisa, I know Lisa always has some input. We can hear what Lisa has to say. Does anybody else have any input that they want to share?
Well, it was this chapter. I read this whole chapter this week, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it did seem very, very clear, especially compared to the course. It's like super clear. So I did go ahead and order the book because I was like, I want to get this book and read it from start to finish.
You will not be disappointed.
No, I don't think I will.
Nope. And
Thank you.
Oh, of course. And it's so fun to hear it together. I don't know, Carla, maybe you can share what your experience has been, and I understand as you're reading it alone, you're hearing it and you're really enjoying it, and it's very clear to you. When we read it together, do you hear different things? Do you hear additional things? Or does it just reinforce what you heard the first time? I'm kind of wondering what your experience is when you read it alone versus when you hear it with us in a group.
I think I do hear additional things or some different things, but I also like the fact that I like the repetitiveness because it reinforces it so I don't forget it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's key. It's really quite key until we've healed our mind, until we've changed it. We need the repetition. And it's like, to a outsider who doesn't know what our goal is and what we're doing, it might seem redundant. It might seem slow. But really, it's like, it's thorough. It's deliberate, right? we're taking this, we are very sincere about reading this and hearing it and letting love wash into our minds and hearts and clear and purify them. Like, oh my gosh, it's like it can happen for us. And I feel it when I read these words. Like, they just sound like love in words. So
Well, and I like the repetition. When I first started these courses with you and you said you were going to go slow and stuff, being the impatient person that I am, I was like, oh, this is going to be slow. But it's not. It's really helpful. And when you repeat phrases, I close my eyes and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy the feeling of it. So I don't, unlike when I first started, I'm liking the repetition.
yay.
I'm appreciating it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it takes, this book will take you into places of yourself you don't know existed. like you just
good.
said, like, I'm impatient. I don't usually like that sort of thing. It's like, oh, you have a whole other side of you that you don't know very well. And it's the side that's connected to love. Like, the side that's connected to love can talk about love all day long.
I'm glad for that.
Me too. I'm glad there's enough of us that want to hear it. Because it's fun. It's so fun. Really.
I agree.
Yeah. Mom, Donna, are you still with us? You have any words that you want to share? How are you feeling about what we're hearing?
Carolyn?
Yeah, you're off mute. You're good.
Okay. No, I don't know, maybe I haven't gotten enough of this, or haven't learned enough, or whatever. I keep thinking our situation, or our lives, what happens to it, what we've been taught, is so contradictory. It's a contradiction to what this is about. You're saying we create everything, but if we don't know what you're telling us, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
No, you're still, yeah, I think your ego still is trying to understand it, which is just a sign that whatever we're hearing is not the message specifically for you. Again, the confusion comes from it not being the message you're supposed to hear yet. But if there is something you hear, even if you don't believe it, and it's something simple that you hear that you could, like, entertain the idea of it being a truth. That's all.
Because it's so different than what I've learned that it's confusing to me.
Can I say something about that?
You bet.
So, I think what's important to understand is that you have to just, first of all, you have to trust, because this entire world and the ego have created this reality so that it is the direct opposite of the truth. Because if we truly understood our power, if everyone collectively, like, Carolyn understands it and I understand it, and there's many people who have been studying this stuff that truly do understand it and are starting to create from that space. But if the world as a collective understood that they create their own reality, can you imagine how it would turn things upside down? There would be no more need for, pharmaceuticals and healthcare and, boxed foods and wars and, the elite using us to
enslavement.
Enslavement. And that's the big red pill. That's the pill that you have to swallow, where once you can understand, wow, I haven't been taught this because it's not the agenda that the world powers want me to know. And they've gone to great lengths with religion and television, the media, movies, news, networks, like programming us to believe the exact opposite of this. They do not want you to know this. So your resistance to it is absolutely perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
What you're questioning is exactly where you should be, because that's how you've been programmed to think. So for you to think any other way right now it wouldn't even make sense. But the fact that you are hearing this message means that this message is for you. Whether you adopt it as your own right now doesn't matter, but this message is for you.
Thank you. I can't put a lot of it into words, but I do understand.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, and thanks, Lisa. That was a really good point. Like,
that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, it is a message for you, and you don't have to understand it, and you're right where you need to be. And actually, your resistance tells me you're hearing what we're saying, because if you weren't hearing it, you wouldn't even have a reaction.
Yeah, that's true, honey. Yeah.
So it's good. And we're learning from the beginning. It even says right here, we are starting because it's wise to begin at the beginning. And the axiom of we are creating every experience that we have, that first learning axiom of like, we are the creators. It's just, we're just still talking about that actually. We're in the second lesson, but we're still talking about the fact that we create. This is, we create consciously, we create unconsciously, and we create subconsciously. It's amazing. But we're constantly creating, and we're always, and what this is telling us is that is what we're always communicating too. So like, oh my gosh, it's layers upon layers, and it's just, it feels so deep, and I get so excited about it, and I'm gonna trust that everybody here is hearing what they need to hear, and don't try too hard to figure it out or push it. Just showing up and being here is your gesture and your symbolic willingness to spirit that, hey, I'm willing to see it differently if it means it'll bring me peace and abundance and love and joy, which is what I've been seeking and haven't been finding.
Yep.
We know that trick. That's the ego's curriculum. Seek and do not find.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I love how all of the truth just builds on itself. Like all of it makes so much sense, and the longer you study, it will make sense. More and more and more, you can read the same book. I've been reading the same book for 7 years, same 2 books for 7 years, and I still am learning from it, and I'm still hearing it, and it just gets better and better. You think you fall in love with it at the beginning? Oh my God, it's like the best relationship you've ever had, because it is truly a relationship that gives back. It fulfills us. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Do you still go to classes?
I haven't been going to them as much. I still listen to other classes on a regular basis.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to keep learning. I want to really, like, I want to do it in a way that is unique and creative for myself. It's like this is saying communication is creation. So I want to create and communicate this information. And it's just like, I feel like I have a little bit of a, like a block to really just letting loose and being like the child in the kingdom. Like having a good old time playing, creating, experimenting, not caring, just, just creating and moving on and creating and moving on. And yeah.
I think that's awesome. I think you're doing a pretty good job.
Oh, thanks, Carla. Thank you, everybody. I really just love sharing it. I love sharing it. And I do sense, and I can feel it, how my presentation is gonna be and what it is evolving, and I'm watching it. I can feel it and I see it evolving a little bit as we go. So hey, bear with me, but I think that spirit is going to use me for a good, like, it's going to use me, but I have to just like get kind of used to it and get a little more trusting myself that I can surrender to that and let it come through me. But I asked today, please just come through me. Like, I don't want to have to do, like, overthink it. I don't want to have to worry about, did I do it well enough? Did I make an impact? Like all these egoic things, when it's just saying, share the information. Because if you don't, how, like, people who don't open the book, how are they going to know? Well, it's about sharing the information and I really, really want to make it so that the religious terminology doesn't stop us from hearing what it's saying. Because we all, you know, we've learned things about religion that have turned us off, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, because there was some,
Absolutely.
some misinterpretations, but that's a mistake. Religion was a mistake. That's basically what I was saying. Like, oops, we decided punishing people and, you know, like condemning people and whatever, that's gonna work to our favor because we can control people when they're afraid. And that was a mistake. And Jesus is like, that's not even, they're not even like horrible. They're not unforgivable. They're making mistakes by believing that they can be punished by their loving God, which is just a mistake. It's amazing. I love this stuff. All right. Well, we're on page, let's see, we have only 9 minutes left, and I know it's kind of like a little bit of a, should we do a few more paragraphs here, a little more truth before we end, because we're all together and it's so exciting, and we're gonna do it. I'm doing it. Peace flows from alignment with the mind of God, the loving right mind, spirit. Peace flows from alignment with love. Therefore, the pathway of awakening, the way of the heart, must start with the decision to embrace the truth that is true always. I am a creator of all that I think and see and experience. I am free always. Nothing impinges upon me but the thoughts I have chosen to hold within my own mind. Nothing imprisons me but my own perceptions of imprisonment. Nothing limits me at any level of dimension of experience except that which I have chosen. The way of the heart then embraces all things, trusts all things, and eventually transcends all things. Why? Because it begins by assuming complete and total responsibility for being channeled through it. That's what it's asking us to do, is take complete responsibility. Because it begins by assuming complete responsibility. Is that Johnny or That's Johnny. Hi, Johnny. He's cute. You all serve as a channel from the moment you arise until the moment you arise. Even during your sleep, you are choosing that which flows through your consciousness. Whoa! So yeah, we are creating all the time. It says from the moment we arise until the moment we arise. So it's like 24/7. We are always creating. We are always, and it says when we assume complete and total responsibility for what is being channeled through us, we transcend all of the fear and all of the worldly illusions that we are so confused by. The goal that we seek has never changed, and it is in this truth, and in truth, it is a journey without distance. It is merely the return to where you were always, and that you might begin new, to create deliberately, clearly, and with perfect knowledge that if you are experiencing something, it is because You are the source of it, and for no other reason. The way of the heart is not a way of gaining power. It is not a way in which you will finally be able to make the world what you want it to be. Rather, the way of the heart is a pathway in which you learn to transcend and to dissolve from your consciousness every perception, every thought which is out of alignment with what is true. So all of the fear, all of the anxiety, all of the depression, we learn to transcend it and to dissolve it from our consciousness because it's out of alignment. We don't want that. We want only what's in alignment with the truth. The thought of death is out of alignment with love. The thought of fear is out of alignment with love. And the thought of guilt is out of alignment. The thought of eternal life is in alignment. The thought of perfect fearlessness is in alignment. The thought of peace is in alignment. And the realization of innocence, it's in alignment. These things are not tricky to figure out. It's not tricky. This pathway is not hard. The thoughts of joy and of forgiveness are in alignment and reflect the truth that is true always. Loving thoughts, anything that feels good and is loving, is in alignment. Anything that is fearful or unloving or doesn't make you feel good, that is not in alignment. That's out of alignment with love. For although you are given complete free will to create as you choose, the soul begins to learn that what brings it the highest joy and the highest peace and the highest bliss imaginable is that which flows from the mind of God through the mind of the channel, the soul, and expresses itself in the field of experience. It is for this reason that the Creator's will is that you are supposed to be happy. That's your Creator's will, and your happiness is found in choosing to restore your perfect alignment with only the voice for love. The way of the heart is the pathway that begins with a commitment to healing and awakening and is founded on the premise, the axiom that we have given to you. You are perfectly free at all times. Everything that is experienced has been by your choice, and at no time has there been any other cause. It is simple, and yet what soul has not known resistance to this idea? If you bake a cake and it turns out well, you'll say, oh, I did that. But if you bake a cake and it turns out very bad, you think, oh, it must have been the flour, or it must have been the temperature of the oven. Surely there was something that caused this creation of my cake to not be what I truly desire. I love a spiritual path that talks about cake. Just saying. Because we can't get too serious about it. That's how we got into this problem in the first place. It takes great courage and great faith to look upon all of our creations, including our thoughts, feelings, and manifestations. It takes great courage and faith to look upon all of them with love and with innocence of a child. For example, to plant a garden, to have all the things wither and die, and yet to smile and say, I planted this garden, and I alone have done it. Well, I will get a little hungry here, so I might as well go to the store. Why is this important? Because a long time ago, the soul began to create a perception that it was something other than it was created to be. And the voice for the ego, the fearful mind, emerged from within the garden of consciousness. As the soul, that deepest aspect of mind that you have all known, began to identify with that voice that was other than the voice for love, that voice has led you to believe that all of your creations determine your worthiness. So your job determines your worthiness, Your relationships determine your worthiness. Your bank account determines your worthiness. Do you know that feeling? It's saying that our worldly perception is what we're identifying with. Therefore, if what you create is not up to snuff, it means that you, in the core of your beingness, are some kind of failure. But I say unto you, in reality and in the truth, failure is not even remotely possible. Why? If you plant a garden and the seed does not turn into a beautiful flower, but withers and dies, that experience is a creation and you have done it. And because all events in space and time, everything that you experience, are perfectly neutral, there is, in reality, never failure. Oh,
That's huge.
that's huge. We're not failures. We didn't mess it up. We're not done. We didn't
Everything's
fail.
neutral.
It's neutral. What I think about it is the worst thing that I've done to myself. It's not that I did it.
It's only our judgment against it and that goes back to what we were talking about before. Only your thought about it. So your thought about it is what's creating your reality, because you get to choose whether you think it's good or bad. It's a completely neutral event, but you get to decide whether it's good or bad, and then torture yourself over that. And you can just choose to let it go.
You can. You can. You can give yourself that power. It seems too easy. We like to make things complicated. So it seems too easy, but it's like I can choose. And like, for example, if somebody dropped a rock on your foot, you could get mad at them and project anger. And they could say, oh my gosh, it slipped out of my hand. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. And then you'd be like, oh, it was an accident. Therefore, I'm not mad. So you just changed your mind based on new information. But don't we make up our mind based on no information constantly, all the time? We just decide what we think we know, and we just go with that.
I really like the example of, like, say filing bankruptcy. Say you completely just drive yourself into the ground for whatever reason. And we look at that as like horrible, like, oh my God, like I can't pay my bills. No, I couldn't pay my tax bill. Now I can't even pay my rent or my mortgage. I don't have food money. Like I don't have a car anymore. Like whatever it is. And it's like, in our world, that's like devastating. Like we're such failures and we're going to die over it. If you step back and look at it, it's just an experience. So you've now created something where you get to experience what it feels like, you know, to file bankruptcy or to not have money or to whatever it is. And if you look at it from a neutral point of view, okay, having lots of money and comforts might be physically feel nicer, but at the end of the day, it's just an experience. Neither of them mean anything. And how can you appreciate, it's like duality, how can you appreciate joy if you never know pain? So we come here to truly experience both sides, but we're so busy judging ourselves about those creations that we don't truly get to enjoy the experience of it.
Which is the whole point, because the world emphasizes the opposite of what is real. It's all full circle. And I love it.
Me too.
And I
My favorite
love
book.
everybody here for joining me and hearing the truth with me tonight. Thank you. I'm grateful and happy to see everybody.
Earth Day.
What? Oh, yeah, Earth Day.
It's Earth Day.
Today's Earth Day. Every day is Earth Day, if you ask me. So,
I just have to show off my cuteness.
Oh, you have some cuteness happening. Oh, you have two cuties.
I have 2 kitties lying on me right now.
They're like stacked on you. That is so
They
cute.
just like to show up.
It's Junie and Johnny. Oh, he's like, mama. He's like sucked to your leg. Oh my God. He's adorable. What would we do without our kitties? Oh my God.
Know, our pets.
Our pets. They're such lovely reminders of being, joy and love, and in the present moment. Like, they are the best.
Yeah.
They absolutely are.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we're going to go out into the laboratory of life, and we're going to play, and we're going to experiment with these ideas, and we're going to see what happens when we look at our creations and say, oh, I created that. Can we? Can we use this week to look around and just say, I created all of this, without judging it, with just the eyes of a child? That's what it's saying, is let's look at it and also say, you know, I don't need to do anything different than what I'm doing. Oh, Donna's signing on twice. Oh, I like your style, Mom. She's so excited about the truth, she's joining in twice.
Okay,
No.
I gotta go. My battery's about to die.
Okay, love you. Thanks for joining. I'll see you soon.
Thanks for being here. Bye.
Thanks for being here.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night, Carla.
Bye-bye. See ya.
Bye.